Welcome back, everybody. Belle Serzans joins me today. She's a recent graduate of Hopkinton High School, going to Connecticut College in the fall, and was an outstanding soccer player. Welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's get started with soccer. Obviously, that was your main sport. Everybody knows that about you. But what age were you when you first started playing soccer?
Honestly, I've been playing soccer since I could walk, for sure. My family was a pretty active family, so I'm thankful I was put into it from a very young age because that certainly helped my skills growing up.
Okay. So did you get involved with HISA, or were you involved with other stuff as well when you were young?
Yeah, so I came to Hopkinton in 4th grade, so I was still in the HISA age group, so I was involved in that. I went to Serzans before this, so we had a thing called WISA, so it was Warner Youth Soccer. So I was a part of that, so I did both.
Cool. So how'd you find the transition to Hopkinton?
My transition was a little difficult for me. Everyone was super welcoming when I came, but it was when my parents split up. But I always had soccer, so that was great. And I did find friends pretty quickly. I think soccer definitely helped with that aspect, keeping me involved and everything. So that was great.
So you made some friends through soccer and got involved with the school, in the community. At what age did you realize you wanted to play in high school?
Oh, honestly, I think that was a goal of mine from very young. Since I remember, I just couldn't picture my life without soccer, so I always saw myself pursuing it throughout my entire high school career and possibly afterwards.
Cool. So once you got started, middle school, what was your feeling about like what position you wanted to play for high school, and how did you feel like you were development-wise? Like, was there anything with your game you still needed to work on to get to a varsity level?
Yeah, for sure. I think in my mindset, it was I want to score. So I opted for striker as much as I possibly could. Back then, when we were younger in middle school and stuff, people didn't really have a set position per se. So I just opted for any of the offensive positions at the time. And I normally ended up there. I was lucky enough to be good enough to be there, I guess. But throughout my entire high school career, I've been playing so many different positions. Coach Zahn in high school has put me in multiple different positions. But yeah, back in middle school, I really tried my hardest to improve and work my hardest to get to where I saw these high school girls playing.
Makes a lot of sense. So once you first got to freshman year of high school, that team was stacked. I know once you're trying to get onto a stacked team, it can be very hard to make the roster, so it's no shame spending a year or two on JV, but that team was loaded. I think they won their 4th straight state championship that year. So what did you learn from watching them, and tell us about your JV experience as well? Yeah,
that class of 2021, so memorable. Absolutely stacked, like you said. I looked up to all of those girls that were on that team. They absolutely carried. It made it hard for even sophomores and juniors to get onto varsity. So JV was actually a pretty big team my freshman year, but I wouldn't change it for anything. Honestly, those girls had their glory moment. That's awesome for them. And I was on JV with a tight group of girls, and an amazing coach, Rusty Whiteman. Sadly, he passed away from esophageal cancer a couple of years back. But Rusty was certainly a big factor in shifting me from JV to varsity. He passed on some terminology to me, passed on some skills that I even use today, and, remember what Rusty said in the back of my head, even when I was on varsity for the other 3 years. So it was a great experience.
What was the advice he gave to you?
So he had some unique terminology.
Okay.
So when, we'd be doing drills and he wanted us to open up our hips so we would receive the ball on our forward moving foot, he'd say, get your guns out like a cowboy. And he would jump out onto the field and act like this cowboy, and he made everybody laugh. What's something else? Oh, instead of cleats, he referred to them as boots. So I say boots now instead of cleats. So that was great. But yeah, he's always, even up there, he's a role model to me for sure.
That's awesome to hear that you still remember him and you take on the advice that he gave to you back then. So obviously he passed away that year. I know can be challenging to discuss, but briefly just kind of mention like the impact that had on you and the team and how you kind of pulled each other through. I know it was during the winter, it wasn't during the season.
Yeah, for sure. So, my JV team ended, and as far as we knew, Rusty was healthy. A couple of the girls, myself and, one other, we went on to play a club team with him in the spring called Peak FC, and he was the head coach of that team. And it was that spring that he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. And it was pretty out of the blue. I had become super close with Rusty. He brought me and my family to a Revs game at Gillette. And that was so cool to sit there with him. We were so close. So I definitely remember that. So him being such this impactful person in my life and, take him pretty quickly, it was certainly something to, that affected me. But ever since then, I've played my sport for him, also for myself. I think, it was definitely a growing stage for all those players. It was certainly, you never take life for granted. We had so much fun at practices with him. I looked forward to it not just because of the soccer, but because of him. It really sucks when sometimes you get that coach that's, berates the kids and, destroys the fun of it. And Rusty was the complete opposite of that. So I'm so happy and blessed that I was able to meet this incredible guy and have that time shared with him.
Very well said.
Thank you.
So moving on to your sophomore year, just, take us through like what you learned from your freshman year experience and how you applied that to sophomore year.
Yeah, so sophomore year, I was coming in for varsity. That year we lost at quarterfinals, unfortunately, to Stevens in a shootout. That was a tough loss, I remember. I didn't know the stature of the team yet, I guess you could say. And so, when something like that happened after, this 4-year streak of the championship, it was like, oh my God, I just remember the bus ride being so depressing on the way back. There was no music being played. There was nothing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. And I just remember the senior girls crying and I felt for them. I was like, and, I just remember them being upset and almost mad at us. And, I wasn't, mad at them for being mad. I almost felt bad that it's like, I'm sorry I couldn't do this for you. I'm sorry, we couldn't do this for you and carry it on. And now then being a senior a couple of years later, I realized geez, it would have meant a lot to them if they could win that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they still won a lot of state championships. And, there's a lot of schools that nobody had any medals because of Hopkinton.
That's very true.
At least, they got 3 state titles during their time here.
Okay.
So. But yeah, so moving on, I know that sophomore year, it was kind of like a mediocre start, 500 through the first 6 to 8 games, and then you guys kind of caught fire and you went on this tear and you had that tie against St. Thomas, but then, there was the Stevens game. But, once you get to that junior year, we're really, really good. I mean, we've lost a lot of talent from our seniors, but we still have some good players here, and you had come a long way that year too. So, you had developed your game into being more of a threat offensively and getting stronger with that. And then I think you played some midfield as well, so.
Yeah, so that was the year actually that we were down a defender, and I had usually played offense, but we just had an overwhelming offense. And we were going in, I can't remember the exact game, but I remember that it wasn't their defense we needed to fear, it was their offense. And someone was like, I'm going to try you on defense. You've got Allie Duvall behind you, and I was like, all right, you know what? If I've got Allie, I feel okay. Allie's a wall. And so I went outside back and I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. I've never played defense in my life before that game. I didn't do bad, but I don't think I'd put myself there. Zahn loved me there, but in years later, I did stay up top after that.
Okay.
But I didn't do bad. Yeah.
So how'd you do as a team junior season?
Yeah, so junior season, we actually made it to the semifinals. We did lose to Guilford. It was 1-0. and I was playing on defense then. I promise it was not me, but it was certainly a group effort. We just did not play up to par, unfortunately. We were on a bit of a tear until that. Guilford and Hopkinton were, neck and neck at the time, just kind of switching between first place and second place. And then second place and third place, and then ending up in semifinals together. I remember that game though. It was certainly a bummer. We had a lot of chances to score though, and we just couldn't finish. It wasn't meant to be. That's okay. I think we learned from it. It is what it is, I guess. But as a team as a whole, we did go far. I mean, we went to semis. So I'm happy.
So entering your senior season, you get to move back to be an attacker more, which is what you like.
Yeah.
And another cool thing, you get to play alongside your sister.
Yes, that was so special for me. Being a senior, playing with my freshman sister. Sadie and I have played, Seacoast together for years. So bringing her up was so special for my last year of high school, something I'll always remember. Usually I would be either on striker or on attacking mid. She'd always be one position behind me. So it was great to look back and see her there and celebrate goals with her. That was great.
Very cool. You also made first team All-State.
I did. That was so cool. My senior year was certainly a huge year. I think I excelled that year more than any other year. I certainly earned quite a bit of awards, which I am proud of. I don't like to brag about, but that awards night, I walked home really happy. I did get first team All-State. I was tied for 18 goals, pretty high up there. I don't remember what place I was tied in for my division, but I was up there, top 5 for sure. It was either 4th or 5th place. And, I got the award, I got coach's award, which was my second year in a row of getting that. I also got that junior year, which I was stoked about as well. That was gnarly. And then, I also got, my senior year, I got the athletic award of a GPA 3.2 or higher. So it was a good haul that night. I can say that. I was pretty proud. I think my senior year certainly showcased my skills more than any other year for sure.
That's an awesome story to talk about. So you obviously had your off-season development as well in training. Can you kind of talk to some of the soccer athletes in the audience who are listening about that and what that whole process looked like for you?
Yeah, so, I've done soccer all my life and kind of only soccer. So in my off season, soccer, it was a year-round thing. So spring, I was always on a club team. Winter, we used to have the field house in Bow, or Hooks at Bow, I think.
Yeah.
And that sadly closed, but I was always there. I was on probably 3-4 teams a year. It was kind of crazy, little tight schedule for me. But summer season, off season, preseason, right before fall started, Zahn had us with our optional practices.
Okay, yep.
But, I always I didn't like the word optional. I mean, if a coach puts a practice out, I go to it. I really tried to make as much as I could, especially when I was that underclassman trying to get up to varsity. I was there. So those were definitely helpful, I think, but by myself, I've always been, going to the gym. I do that a lot. I hate running.
Okay.
I'm gonna be so honest, but, I did it in the 90-degree heat, but yeah, I just think pushing yourself is the number one thing you can do. It's you against you. I really tried to never compare myself to others, which was super hard, looking up at all these amazing girls that are on varsity ahead of me. That class of 2021, I was like, oh my gosh, there's just no way I can do all that. But it's like, I want to, and I pushed myself and I tried my hardest, and that's all you can do.
Awesome. So now, obviously, you get to be a senior in high school and you have to start thinking about the next chapter. So what was that process like for you, looking at different schools, looking at what you wanted to potentially study and how you made that decision?
Yeah, so I can't really envision my life without soccer. It's kind of been the holy grail for me. So I knew going into my college search that that's something that I had to be a part of. It had to be on the list. I'm going to Connecticut College, and I am not playing soccer this coming year. So that's something that I'm battling with, actually, because I don't know what my life's gonna look like now. But I looked at all these schools. I knew I didn't want to play Division 1 or Division 2. I do want to focus on my career. So I opted for D3, and all of the schools I looked at were D3 or like NESCAC schools. And the school I am going to is a NESCAC school, but I found this school pretty late. It was almost a last minute decision to go to Connecticut College because I didn't get into my ED schools. So, Connecticut College soccer will have to wait. I could possibly play club this coming year. I found the school a little late to be recruited, unfortunately. So I think if I'm going to play, I'm going to have to wait till next year to try out.
There's a lot that you can still look at potentially. I mean, you mentioned the club already,
Yep.
But you can still train. There's still things that you can try and do.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm definitely going to stay active. I think even if soccer's gone, my, athleticism is never going to go away. At least I hope not. I'm going to stay active. I go to the gym. I love to hike. I mean, just athletic hobbies, I think. That's what I'm going to focus on.
Intramurals, club, stuff like that.
For sure.
So, what are you going to be studying? Do you know yet?
Yeah, so I'm double majoring in international relations and government and minoring in French. Quite a mouthful, actually.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. I'm excited. I'm very excited. I decided to study international relations because of one of my teacher's classes called Global Issues. Shout out Miss Centros.
Right.
One of my faves. That class, I knew I loved traveling and I loved knowing about different cultures, history, but there was also a part of me that was like justice. Like I needed it. I wanted to be a cop for the longest time. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know. And then, combine the two, I got international relations.
So cool.
Yeah.
Is there any internships or anything that you're looking at or potentially looking forward to in the coming years, some opportunities that might be available?
So right now, my school actually, we don't even have our classes picked. So
Okay.
Yeah, my school is a little late on this stuff. So we do all of that when we get there. So as far as internships and stuff, I'm not even aware of anything through my school that I could be doing. I have high hopes for what I'll be doing. I will certainly invest my time in some internships. And my school has great connections, so I'm excited to see what I could possibly get through that. But, I mean, studying abroad is something that I know I'm going to do. Not necessarily an internship, but I could turn into one in a way. Yeah.
Do you know where you want to study abroad?
So, the language I'll be taking is French. So, I would either go to a Francophone country, so a French-speaking country, France itself, or another country that probably speaks English. To probably better my French abilities. I think it would be so cool if I could combine both of those interests, so French and then, international relations in a way, so, interning at the U.S. Embassy in France. That's like crazy goal of mine, but it's in the back of my head. Like, it would be insane to do that.
Gotcha. So in terms of soccer, whether it's now or whether it's 4 years from now when you're done with soccer, is there any chance you get involved with soccer in a different way, either like in an athletic department somewhere or as a coach?
So I did think about this, myself sometimes. I think, honestly, you hear a lot of coaches say, if I can't play anymore, this is why I'm a coach. I think that I would have a hard time coaching kids or people because I just want to be on the field. If I did, it would have to be little kids soccer for sure because I would just want to be out there. I really would. I think that passion will always stay with me, which is a great thing to have, I guess.
That's really cool. All right. Anything to add, any bits of advice or anything you want people to know that we haven't covered?
Let me think. Honestly, I think, I was so nervous coming off of, this high from soccer, over my high school career, especially ending it with, going out with a bang my senior year, which I was lucky enough to do. And I was so worried about, going into college, finding the right thing, if soccer's going to be a part of that or not. And for me, this first year at least, it's not. And I was really sad about that at first. And then I realized, well, you know what? There's so many, there's always next year. And I was honestly bummed that I was like, oh, I have to play club. I found the school too late to be recruited. But it's there's always next year. And I'm gonna take this time. It kind of gave me a second to get over that hump. And now I'm I'm gonna take this time to get better. There's no reason I have to stop playing soccer. So, there's that.
All right. Well, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Belle. I appreciate it. And
Thank you so
good luck.
much. Thank you.
Please subscribe to the channel. It helps out a bunch and is completely free. Thank you.